I think I have just lost the one person that I've prayed for. Like, all because of my self-sabotaging tendencies. Because God forbid, I actually accept good things that are happening to me because I'm so used to it being a mess. I'm so used to it being toxic. And here I am in the face of a non-toxic situation, in the face of a God-fearing man, in the face of a family.
I can't be the only one with this kind of story. About 2 years ago, I was in a relationship with a man, and he was about 40. I was about, 25, 27, something like that. But he was willing to invest in me physically, financially, emotionally, religiously, like all aspects. He wanted to make me a better woman for him. Well, he boosted my self-esteem and my well-being so much that I thought that I could do better than him. And now fast forward, I am now post dealing with a narcissist. I now understand that not all men have your best intention at heart. Not all men will invest in you, and not all men will uplift you. So when you get the opportunity to date such a man, do not let it go.
You know, this right here hurts people more than regret itself. Let's talk about it. All praise to the Most High Yah Shalom. Thank you for tuning in to another Righteous Spirit-filled episode. Today I'm back at it in them trenches handling that kingdom business. Man, I thank you for tuning in to this members only, video exclusively where I can talk about some things and not put it out to the public. And maybe you can relate to this. Maybe I can give you some words of wisdom so you yourself don't find yourself in this boat, in this situation. There are many things in our life that we're not living up to be the best versions of ourselves. And, we will have some regrets. I regret doing this. It wasn't a true representation of who I wanted to be, but it was actually who I was. You may regret this and regret that, but today I'm going to talk about something that hits a lot harder than any form of that regret. And in the last days, a lot of people are doing this. When we look at the rate of divorce in Western culture, there are so many videos out there of people that are, running to get a divorce, and then they're finding out that the grass is truly not greener on the other side. And what they're doing is using social media, whether it be TikTok, whether it be Instagram, whether it be YouTube, they're using it as their therapist, because they're dealing with the very same thing that I'm talking about. One of the hardest things for people to deal with is the fact that, you messed up something good. You had somebody good, and for the sake of your happiness for a moment, you left a peaceful situation. And you went out there and found chaos. And this is what a lot of women, who are divorcing their husband are pretty much running out there finding. They're divorcing a situation where there is peace, where there is structure, where there is provision, and they're not happy, for a moment. They're getting bored because they truly are not being constructive. And they think that this divorce will make them happy. And you go out there and you start dating and you find out that these men are out here pretty much lined up to just hit it and quit it. to smash and to go on with their life. A lot of these men that you run into already have a main chick, and you find out thinking that you're finding love, and you find out, man, you fell into side chick status without even knowing it. Nothing will hurt a man more than him leaving a woman, saying all kind of crazy stuff to her, and this woman doesn't even chase you out because you're doing her a favor by removing yourself from her life. And because you refuse to work on yourself, because pride got the best of you, the worst feeling you will face is, being on your social media and see the picture of somebody that you chose to walk away from living their best life and glowing. And that will send people in a spiral of depression because you didn't realize how good you had it. You didn't realize how good, somebody was actually treating you. But because you wanted your cake and eat it too, you weren't willing to do the work. And you said, you know what? You listened to that voice of, well, you can be happier somewhere else. Hasatan fooled you with that voice and you listened. You left a good woman, and every woman you found after that didn't even come close. And now you're seeing this woman move on, have a beautiful family, is not thinking about you, doesn't give a care in the world about you. That's evident that your pride is in the way. Your feelings are governing your actions rather than thinking logically about, let me examine this situation that I'm in. This situation is not that bad. You have a majority of the married women that go file a divorce out of their emotions. They let a lawyer talk them into actually going through with it. And then you're jumping out here on this dating scene, you're getting ran through on these apps. And the man that you divorced, he didn't even put up a fight for you. Why? Because you were fighting against him. The protection is in the union. The protection is in the covenant. But you wanted to chase this happiness when you realize, oh snap, I had peace. I had peace knowing that these bills were paid. This man was actually trying to help me out and tell me these things, but something in my character just didn't want to hear it. So I chose outside happiness that seemed like it would be more fulfilling. And then you find yourself getting ran through. You find yourself that there's not this whole line of men that are waiting to marry you, but there's just men out there wanting to sleep with you. And the same thing happens to you as a woman. Man, you're on your social media. You've got this facade up that you're living your best life and you don't need anybody. And then it all happens. Man, that picture of your doggone ex-husband or somebody you used to be in a serious relationship pops up with, and man, they look happy. You've never seen them that happy even when you were with them. They look like they got a glow about themselves. They look like, man, this is the peace that they have been waiting on. They look like this is the peace that they wanted from you, but you failed to give it to them. Man, we have to do the work as individuals because Hasatan will bait us into these scenarios and situations that look a lot better while we're inside a relationship. But once we exit that relationship, it's not what it is. It's nothing but headache, hard times, depression, anxiety, and struggle. This hits harder than any regret you've ever had. And if you're watching this, man, I hope it's in you to say, you know what, man, I need to do the work. I need to do the work to enhance my character. Have the spirit of truth in me, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, so I can actually discern some of these voices that I'm hearing that have caused me to do things that I truly regret. Doing that work is not going to bring that person back, but it'll put you in position to understand that peace is more important than happiness. Peace is more important than happiness. Happiness comes and goes, but you can maintain peace. Oftentimes we're not of the character, that we don't have the attributes in order to understand that until it's too late. And I'm making this so somebody doesn't find themselves in that boat. You're boo-hooing behind closed doors because you jacked up something good. Be mindful of how you talk to somebody in a relationship. And here's the bad thing. They didn't even chase you out the door because you were doing them a favor. And you know what you said in your pride and in your arrogance? Man, you'll never find somebody like me. That's when it really hurts. When you say that in your pride, and it don't take people. You think, oh man, it's so hard out here. How could they? Because you rejected their love, you rejected the opportunity, you walked away from it. Now you're complaining about how could they move on so quick. The reason you say that is because you realize how hard it is out here. You're realizing that. You realizing you have to eat your words because they went on to do the very same thing that you tried to curse them with. You'll never find anybody better. I'm the best man or best woman you'll ever get. And you say that because you want them to chase you out the door, but you really don't want to be chased back into the relationship. You just enjoy watching them beg as you tear apart their life, and you're upset now, and you're upset because and you regret your decisions because you realize you didn't have any power over their life. You realize they were being patient, hoping that you would work on yourself, but you chose not to, so they found somebody else that would. This is the one thing for men and women that hits harder than any other regret that you have, having to see somebody that you was with, that somebody that was being patient and willing to work with you, willing to be cooperative, and you jacked it up. Be mindful of what you're walking away from and how Hasatan, the devil, can dangle something in front of you and you only see the sparkle, but you don't realize the backside of it is covered in dung. Hasatan's never going to show you the struggle. He's going to show you what your flesh wants to see. Be careful walking away from something good, because it will be the biggest regret you have as a man or a woman. Close to the Yah Ministries, kicking it gun barrel straight.